There has been an influx of more Asian in the media, so we get a lot of the K-pop, the boy bands,
K-dramas, J-pop, anime, manga, manhwa.
So popular these days.
We have to carve out our own space.
The P has to come out somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't think that was going to be the best quote of this whole podcast.
Hey, what's going on? This is Jason Encite, and here's my co-host, Kat Serrano. This is the Future Ancestors podcast. Now, on this episode of Future Ancestors, we have a company based on something that we've all grown up looking at, comic books. So let me give you a brief introduction like I always do. So when our guests founded Kwento Comics, they wanted to provide a space to tell stories from the perspective of women, Asian women, Filipino women. There wasn't anything of that niche available, so instead of accepting that fate, they created that space so there was one. Kwento Comics was founded in 2022 with their series, The Mask of Haliya. It became the first comic book company ran all by Asian women. Now, Kwento is the Tagalog word for story, so let's hear theirs. Welcome to the Future Ancestors podcast to Cecilia and Waverley Lim. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Introduction.
That was wonderful, and we are very honored to be on this podcast, so thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, no problem.
In a very cool studio space here in New York.
Absolutely.
For me, who's a West Coaster.
So we start off by asking all of our guests, where are you from in the Philippines and how did it influence your upbringing?
Oh, okay. So, hi, this is Cecilia. I will start. So, I actually grew up, I'm first generation Filipina. I grew up in Springfield, Illinois. And my parents are from, my dad's from Bacolod, which is in Negros. My mom is from Quezon City. I grew up with not a whole lot of Filipinos in the area. So when I went to University of Illinois, I met my husband, who was also Filipino, first
They
generation.
met in the Filipino club.
Yeah,
mind
we
you.
met,
I was like, that's so cute.
That is cute.
And his mom's from Aklan, and his dad's from Quezon City. So
Yeah. I grew up in West Palm Beach, Florida. Also, not too many Filipinos down in South Florida, but it's a growing community. Yeah. But growing up, I really didn't see a whole lot of Asian representation much down there at all until we started going to LA when I was about 14 as a teenager. I really wanted to train and do film and television stuff out there during the summers. I was a big theater kid growing up. And that's when I was like, oh, there's a whole community out here. There's a bunch of us out here. Like Filipinos, we do exist. We do have a community here in the States. And that was really exciting when we officially made the move out to LA, just to be able to connect more. And that was kind of the ethos of how Kwento Comics started. It was we were like, wait, there actually is a lot of us out here trying to do this thing in entertainment, whether it's comics, music, film, TV, fashion even. And so we got really inspired that, to join the fight in that way because we wanted to see more representation.
That's awesome. My grandparents are from Lake Worth, which is not far from West
wow.
Palm.
That was my first home, at least, was in
Yeah.
Lake Florida.
Really?
So
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah, so I know that there definitely weren't any Filipinos.
Yeah.
I didn't see anyone.
Okay, yeah, you know
Yeah.
that area then.
Wow, that's
For
a crazy
sure.
connection. I didn't even know about that.
But through that,
That's
but
fascinating.
I didn't even get to go. We went to the Philippines for Lola's wake. It always starts with a Lolo or Lola wake, which is a lot of experience for Phil Ams. I feel like for their first time going to the Philippines is that memory of having to go to an ancestor's wake, which is kind of why we started the Mask of Haliya off in that way. But for me, when I was 6 years old, I didn't remember too much of the Philippines. So when we went in 2022 to meet our artists for the first time and go for my graduation trip, that's when I really felt a new connection to the land and to our people and to the culture in such a new way. So for me, growing up, it was really only family and food that I had that deep, which is obviously so strong in for Filipinos.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Same for me.
What I find unique, because a lot of the things, the subject matter that we do when we do this podcast, it's a lot of us finding ourselves. But what you guys have is very rare, both a mother and daughter team.
Yeah.
How how is it like working together in like such a creative project, and then how do you put both of your perspectives together in one kind of cohesive mission?
Wow. Well, so there's a couple of different dynamics. So first, there's mother-daughter dynamic, and Waverly came out of the womb entertaining. I'm an attorney. I say I'm a recovering attorney because I don't do law anymore. But she is what I would have loved to have been earlier, more confident, more on her game. She's like the better part of me.
Wait, that's really nice. Oh my gosh.
So that's the mother-daughter dynamic, which, and then there's like the business dynamic. Yeah. And what's great about is because I've got a business background, I was an econ major, went to law school. So things in business like contracts and forming corporations, things like that, that's my area. And her area is helping tell the stories. I'm CEO, she's COO. She handles all the logistics for the artists, the writers, and we just work in tandem. We talk 50 times a day.
Yeah, we're basically on Facebook Messenger, FaceTime, Discord,
Google
all of the
Meet,
things,
all of them.
From start to wake up. Yeah, wake up in the morning to end of the night, brushing teeth, still talking about work stuff for sure. But again, it was really nice because we started, I feel like at least my journey of growing in the company really evolved over time, and my mom let me do it at my own pace and my own timing for how much of the things that I wanted to take on. So when we first started the company, I mean, I was only 17, 18. I was getting ready to go to school. We were figuring out the business and what we were doing. She was teaching me everything from, we have to have a tax ID number. We have to do contracts and with the artists and look at, artist rates and, doing the logo for the comic book company and the IP. And
you still hate Excel spreadsheets, though.
Oh yeah, or being the
Those are my
COO.
favorite.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a whole nother thing. I'm really good at organizing in my own Waverly method. But all of those things I was learning for the first time while going through school and everything like that. And as we started going, because obviously COVID hit, that happened during my sophomore and junior year of college. That's when we really started ramping up Haliya. And that's when I think was a turning point for us as a business, and also me as an executive of the company of okay, now I really want to step up to the plate. I really want to learn how to do the business aspect of things just as much as the creative, and vice versa. Me being able to provide my mom a space to do all of these creative endeavors and things that she had been percolating with throughout her life, I guess, and now being able to bring it into fruition and manifest it and see it realized. So we do definitely have a yin and yang balance to each other for sure.
Yeah.
But now, since we've launched in 2022, it definitely feels like it's always been an equal thing. She's never treated me less than or whatever. When it's mother-daughter time, it's mother-daughter time. When it's business, we're business partners, and we're okay, how can we move this thing forward, which is really awesome.
I love that you guys have a flow, that you make time for family, because that's important, right? Because it could get convoluted. So that's dope that you guys have that. Being that you said yin and yang, sorry. How would you describe your personalities, and how does it complement you when you guys work on the Mask of Haliya?
Okay, so I guess my personality, I'm the chill one.
Yeah.
Nothing really phases me because I'm older and been in corporate America 20 plus years. It's there's nothing that can't be fixed, really, when in a business setting. Waverly is just very passionate about everything.
Yeah, it could literally be from the small sticker marketing to our big activations at conventions. I am really passionate about everything. I have a lot of energy. I'm a theater kid. So I'm passionate about everything the world is sunshines and rainbows and is also burning for me, like burning to the ground at the same time as soon as like a single problem happens. So for my mom and going through all these things for the first time, she really helped ground me and like these are always things that are fixable that you can work through. And now I feel more empowered of, oh, okay, maybe it might feel like at the moment that the world is on fire, but actually there's a really clever solution to everything. And she also taught me that no is like not a word we listen to. That there is always a workaround. Anytime there's always, if you can't get in through that door, there's another door waiting right behind it.
I was told like if someone tells you no, then you ask the wrong person.
Yep.
Yes.
You gotta go to the next one.
Yeah, go to the next person. Exactly.
We don't take no very. We just don't. We don't listen to it.
I love
Yeah.
that. That's great because I feel like sometimes I don't know. Like I feel like a lot of Filipinos normally will hear no and then keep it moving. Just like not.
And accept it.
Yeah, we'll accept the no and not try any harder. So I
Yeah.
love that you guys don't accept no as an answer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else.
Well, I mean, I got to know a lot. Growing up, I wanted to go into journalism. That was not an approved career. Writing was not an approved career. It had to be, doctor, lawyer, engineer, accountant. Well, because that was that generation, and that was hard. I went through a lot of turmoil in college trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Ended up going to law school, but I knew when I was going to have kids that I didn't want to put those parameters on my kids. So my son, he's a gamer, went to school for game design, works for Blizzard,
Oh, that's
and then we
awesome.
have Waverly, who, like I said, was birth entertaining. She was in hip hop at like
I
6 years
will
old.
say though, when we're talking about the business aspect of things, she's very fearless, a lot more than I am. I'm pretty conservative. I'm like, well, are you sure we can do that? Are you sure that we can do that? Like, I actually, surprisingly enough, between our personalities, business-wise, I'm typically the one holding the reins back here, while Cease is like the reindeer. Like, let's go, next place. Like, let's do it. Like, we can do it. We can figure it out. I'm like, wait, but can we? Did we look at the numbers? Did we do this? Did we? You know what I mean? Logistically, okay, structurally. So in a way, although you would think that the creative personality is the one that might be more sporadic, I typically am the one that is actually more by the books. Let's do this in a step that matters. Where she's like organized chaos, and it works for her.
Yeah. The first question Waverly always says is when I have my kooky ideas.
Yeah, she has a lot of ideas.
I have a lot of kooky ideas. And she's like, how are we going to pay for that? How are we going to do that? And I'm like, we'll figure it out.
Like, what do you mean we'll figure it out? but that's her. And so again, it is that balance of scales where sometimes it's her that has, the fun, crazy ideas, and then sometimes it's me, and it flip-flops back and forth pretty evenly and nicely.
I do want to just take a moment and say, that I'm really proud of you as a mom, just to do what you did because you didn't pass on that generational trauma. You stopped it. So I just wanted to acknowledge that before moving forward. That's really beautiful.
Yes.
And what you did and then, now what she's going to do for your grandchildren. Like, that's how it starts, right? Like, it takes one person, so.
Yeah.
I love that you
Exactly.
said that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I acknowledge that fact, and I'm on these panels with a lot of Filipino artists, some of who are older than me, and say, it took my parents a really long time for them to see that this could make me money, that this was a viable career path. And I credit my mom all the time because we couldn't have done what we did without her, breaking that generational trauma. And then two, being fearless enough to be like, I believe in my daughter, I believe in myself, I believe in our stories, and I believe I can make an impact. I mean, going from attorney to in corporate America to deciding to start a comic book company, a lot of people looked at us sideways.
I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
What do you, huh?
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right, so let's get into the Mask of Haliya.
Yes.
So Philippine mythology, it's a very central aspect of the storytelling. Can you just explain to us why Haliya? To those who aren't familiar with the Philippine deity, what is the importance of why you made this a central character in the series?
Okay, so the Mask of Haliya is our first series, and Haliya is a Bicolano moon goddess. So
There's lots of there's lots of dialects in the Filipino language. There's I think 183 ethno-linguistic groups, maybe more, maybe a little less, something like that. But each of them have their own even pantheon of deities and creatures. So Haliya, people might know her counterpart a little bit more, Mayari, which is the Tagalog version. We went with Haliya for the,
I love
the
that.
story and the mythos.
Because my mom's from Beagle, so I love
Hey, there you go. Representing. Well, we want to represent for, outside. Obviously, there's a lot of representation. People know Manila really well, but I think the provinces, Visayas region, I mean, there's so many other stories to be told there. So,
Yeah.
anyways, continue.
Yeah. So, when we were first conceiving of the idea of how do we tell Filipino stories, how do we, change the what Hollywood sees, what we see as consumers, we decided to use comics because it's a universal medium and it's visual, right? You have the story, you have the art.
It's like a storyboard.
It's like a storyboard. So we figured, you know what? If we could write our stories, if we could tell our stories, have Hollywood look at them, that they could see, the beauty, the culture, the story, and maybe go from there to do film and TV.
I would pick this genre of fantasy, mythology, supernatural, action, adventure. At the time, I mean, this was either phase 1, phase 2 of that Marvel time period where comic book IP was so big. Right. And when we were researching Filipino mythology, it was so vibrant and spectacular that we were like, this has to be put into pictures. We can't just do this with words. Like we need something even more behind this.
So growing up in Springfield, Illinois, I loved reading. I was big into mythology. So read all the Greek, the Roman, the Norse. Could not find anything on Filipino mythology. And I grew up in the 60s. It was very difficult to find. But slowly but surely, every time I went back to the Philippines, I'd pick up a book, I'd find something, and I'm like, that's really cool. So using Filipino mythology has always been in the back of my mind. It's like, God, I would love to, explore this, to, show everybody what great stories we have. And so when we came up with the idea of doing the story, we found our writers. And we said, okay, well, here's the concept.
We're like, Filipina teenage superheroine.
Yeah, number one.
They're like, oh, really?
And
like,
then number two, use Filipino mythology.
Yes.
And that's when our head writer, Caitlin, found the myth of Bakunawa and Haliya.
Yeah.
And
based off the seedling of the idea of, the concept of the Mask of Haliya.
Do you want to talk about your Lola's wig?
I think it's really started with you. It started with me, and again,
yes.
It's the combo. We balance each other out. Her idea, and then toppled on my idea.
So my mother-in-law passed away, and my sister-in-law had a basket at the wake of all her jewelry, brooches, earrings, rings, necklaces.
I was like so obsessed and in love with this Lola in particular because she really raised me, and she lived in the we were such a Filipino family. I had I was lucky enough to have my Lolo and my Lola live in the home with me. Funny enough, it was
my dad,
her Lolo, and my dad's mom, so Lola. So not even so from separate.
That's interesting.
Yeah, super interesting dynamic.
But when she passed away, you picked up one of her favorite opal rings.
Yeah, she wore this opal ring all the time, and it was her and I's birthstone because we're both October babies. Shout out Libras. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's the ring. And I've held this ring very near and dear to my heart for a long time, but you had the idea.
Yeah, so when Waverly picked up the ring, I'm like, what if this ring had powers? What if this ring would contain the history of the Philippines, and you could somehow see pre-colonial Philippines the way it was before. So that was the initial idea, and then when Caitlin when Caitlin, our head writer, came on board, and we found the myth of Haliya, the ring turned into a mask. Okay. So that's how kind of it morphed, and again, Caitlin just ran with it. We said, Caitlin, can you write us a Game of Thrones Filipino story, and she
Drama. We're like A, B, C subplots all interweaving. All the characters are, they meet there, and then this character who you didn't think was oh my gosh, wait, I'm giving spoilers for issue 8 and 9. Oh my gosh, wait, maybe I should stop, guys. You
8
have
and
to read this.
9.
8 is on its way to the printer. 9 is in production, and I'm telling everyone they're bangers. And they're bangers for a reason, because I want audiences to be so surprised with how intricately woven the story and the characters of mythology have all blended into one, because Caitlin has absolutely been doing a fantastic job writing the series, and it's been such a fun time for us to collaborate on all of this together, because these are the things that we wish we saw ourselves in these genres and these mediums and these stories, and now it is Filipino characters at the forefront.
I love that. So let's talk about the main character of the series, Marisol. How do you incorporate cultural identity when developing an origin story?
Oh, that's a great question. I think the origin story starts with, like you said, cultural identity, and that cultural identity that a lot of us feel as Asian Americans, as Philams, of not being completely American and then not feeling exactly Filipino 100% when you go over, because everyone's like, do you speak the language? Have you visited where you came from yet? All of the different things. Did you grow up here? Did you go to school here? And so again, it's always like one foot in one side of the pond and one foot in the other, and never feeling that dichotomy of the two that we all experience as, a community. So for us, it was really so important for us to tell this Balikbayan story, because we know the magic of being Philam and going to the motherland for the first time and walking literally on the sand that your ancestors walked is so important for anyone to take. I know how big of a difference I felt just being there and present in the land. And it goes beyond just Filipino, Asian, anyone being American and going back to your homeland, to your motherland is such a special experience that I think everyone should take from this book and to be inspired to go do. But yeah, culturally, Mari being a Filipina American going back home, it was really important for us to weave in the perspective of a Philam with the perspective of Filipinos. And that's what's been really lovely, is that we wanted to, we get it as Philams and Filipinos. It's been difficult bridging that gap between us. One, the pond is quite big. But two, there's just a lot of these cultural differences and things that us as Philams have had to do to survive and assimilate in this country, that we've lost a lot of our culture in lots of different ways. So for us to be able to, hopefully, what we're trying and hoping people get out of the Mask of Haliya is being able to, hopefully Filipinos can see the perspective of Philams, understand that perspective more, and our experiences, and then also for Philams to see the perspective more of Filipinos and want to close that gap a little bit more.
I love that. That's important.
Yeah.
That's really important. That's what we're trying to do too.
Yeah, it's a common theme, especially when we try to bring people together, and it's like it's not necessarily the case. There's still those same not necessarily stereotypes, but kind of expectations of, oh, hey, you're Philam, like, oh, you have it better, or you're in the Philippines, you don't know how the struggle is, and it's a lot of back and forth there. But over time, I've seen that the lines have kind of blended in, and now, especially with the way communication is now, and obviously using another medium like what you guys are doing right now, just proves it. That because you have artists and writers that work in from the Philippines as well, right?
Oh yeah, and that was so important to us. One, because the talent and the artistry in the Philippines is quite literally
this is beautiful.
insane. Thank you.
They did a great job.
We really want. When everyone opens the books at the conventions, I'm like, we really wanted it to look like a still from an animated series. A lot of us from the executive team and the writing team, filmmakers out in LA, and so it was really important that the art was done in a really impactful way that you can just visualize all of it. So that's my favorite thing. When people are like, I was watching it, I was like, cool.
Yeah, it's
awesome. But again, all of that, none of that credit goes to me and all to the artist, because my artistic skills don't span past drawing stick figures. And that's what I tell them. But they're like, are you the artist? I'm like, oh gosh, no. Oh my gosh, no. I'm like the talented artist in the Philippines.
But
and
we did know what we wanted, right?
we knew what we wanted.
We wanted to showcase Asians, Filipinas, the way we look.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you go to these conventions.
I don't look like She-Hulk or Wonder Woman. That's just
And
not the
that's
way
okay.
my body is.
Yeah.
But it is true. You see a lot. I mean, you know, you walk down the convention aisles and you see the way women are drawn. Not proportionally, I guess.
Yeah.
And we're like, we need to make something for the ladies, by the ladies.
Yeah.
Back to the artist, though. A lot of people don't know that a lot of animation is outsourced in the Philippines. And I think it's really important to highlight is that a lot of Filipino artists don't even get to work on Filipino stories too often. And so that was really important for us to source from the Philippines for all of those reasons. Like a lot of times they're like, you didn't get to work on like, you know, Filipino stories, our own mythology, all of that stuff. And also having artists in the Philippines was really important because we wanted it to feel like the Philippines in the books too. And I'm not gonna pretend as a Philam that I know, you know, exactly what that looks like in that landscape, even just visiting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even from the graffiti to the architectural design of the buildings.
Exactly. That was super important that we wanted to be authentic to, you know, what was in the Philippines, even though this is, you know, a comic book.
Yeah.
But we gave the artist liberty to put, you know, fun graffiti on the walls.
Yeah.
We wanted to use Filipino street food.
Yeah.
You know, we have
An issue too.
yeah,
We got
an
an awesome panel. You can probably open it. For
yeah.
anyone who's watching.
Yeah.
And then also we wanted to use Filipino, so this is some of our artwork. We also wanted to use Filipino brands. You know, we've got, in some of the billboards, we have a Lambanon company, a Calamansi company.
Nice.
So, yeah, everything's
go.
very vibrant.
Yeah, the street
Yep, there's the
food.
street food right there. Food is so important to Filipinos.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
this is,
For sure.
this is how we, you know,
Communicating to
communicate
show our love.
exactly is through food. So we wanted to make sure that we sprinkled in all those little bits and pieces of Filipino culture, so you know everybody can enjoy.
So comic books are still known as the boys' club, right?
Oh, yeah.
How important is it to give women their due justice in this space?
Okay, I'll start.
How long do we have?
Yeah, how long do we have? Well, as you know, we are an all-female, all-Asian comic book company. Did that for a reason. Spent 20 years at a really, really great, you know, Fortune 200 company. But there were times where I felt as a woman that I was not allowed at the table. When I formed this, I wanted to make sure that everybody is allowed at the table. And, you know, we didn't necessarily wake up one morning and say, oh, we're going to make an all-female company.
Yeah.
That's not what happened. What happened was I started with Waverley, and then when we got our writer, it was important for us to tell the story from a female perspective. So obviously a female writer. And then when we started looking for artists, it was like an open cast call. Everybody applied. But the artwork that we fell in love with were all female. And it just so happened that, you know, the comic book industry is just not, there's not a whole lot of female artists. And we wanted to make sure that those women had a chance to do a serialized, you know, collection of work instead of just doing freelance cover here, cover there, or
Which
you
has
know,
been like that. Yeah.
which is you don't find a lot of women doing like just steady work, and we wanted to give, you know, when we started building everything, we said, well, you know, we need to give these artists a chance because we found some fabulous artists out there, and they just needed a break. So, you know, our big thing at Kwento is we want to give a lot of these Filipina and Asians, and they're not just all Filipina. We've got a wonderful storyboard penciler. She's Chinese American out of Texas. We love her to death. But it was super important for us to make sure that the female voice because it was a female story was represented well.
What actually puts a smile on your face? What gives you joy about going through this whole process, even though it can be painful at times? What makes you guys smile after the end of the day?
I love that he asked that because we just came from New York Comic Con, and I have to say these days are really grueling and tough. And you are talking about your book. If anyone's ever been to our booth at a convention, you know that we will pull you in one way or another, and you really have to like fight for your book and your story out there. So I just want to say that you can never, I don't know, maybe over market yourself. I think like sometimes artists are afraid or maybe might be a bit shyer to go out there and really pull people in, but I encourage that. But yes, the joys, because it is such a grueling thing, also on the flip side in a weird way, also does come from the conventions.
Yeah.
It's such a weird dichotomy of, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm going to die at these things. My voice is gone. Someone's always ends up sick by the end of one. Our immune systems are low. But it is the joy of connecting with readers and fans for me that actually took the time to read it and take in the artwork and take in the story, whether they resonate with the characters or are a fan of learning about new mythology. Whether it's a little girl that came up to us and is like, oh my gosh, I've never seen myself on a page in this way.
So exactly what Waverly said, the conventions really, they're tough, but needed for marketing. But what really puts a smile on my face or joy in my heart is when another mom comes up and says, I have been looking for something for my daughter. Something for her to read. And, that puts a joy on my face that, oh, okay, maybe I am making a difference. Maybe, some other kid is going to wake up and read one of our stories and go, oh, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That puts a joy in my heart. So, if we can do that and continue to multiply that, that's we've won.
You need the pain to make the joy feel absolutely euphoric, and that I am the most.
Pain.
Because I know it's true though. That's the first thing that came because it really does. I want to emphasize it because it makes those moments with the readers even more special to me because of all of the other stuff that we went through, the fight to get that out there for them.
We are so grateful for our fans. We had one lady literally in tears with her eyes just say, thank you so much. Never seen any of this before. And you guys, when they thank us, it makes us, makes all the world a difference.
That's actually why I bought it, because I never saw it either. So I was so excited. I'm like, yes, Filipino stuff, is awesome. Last question. As future ancestors, what do you hope your legacy is that you leave behind with Haliya, for yourselves? What is your legacy?
Yeah, so the legacy for me is, I guess, twofold. First, I got into this because wanted to tell the Filipino stories, the Filipino mythology, have people, see that we are a unique community, our unique culture. But you know what? The second half of what I hope my legacy will be is that female entrepreneurs, you can, there's so much that you can research on the internet. There's so many resources out there for people who have an idea, want to try it out. You can do it. There are ways to make things happen. So I just hope our company inspires other entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, Asian entrepreneurs.
You inspired me.
Awesome.
All of that. I second that. No, I do actually second that. But that's so tough and such a loaded, I guess, heavy thing for me because I know how much my ancestors have played a role in my life. Oh, sorry, hold on. I don't get emotional, but
I know, you never do.
I know, I've literally never gotten emotional on these things. That's so embarrassing. No, I think it's important because the whole reason why this started was because the seedling of the idea was my Lola's week. It's literally in the books. And so for me, if I can inspire my, future anak and that legacy, and then, just anyone who's Filipino out there is to champion for our own voice. It is needed so bad. We're seeing this wave of Asian culture now recently in media over the last few years, which is awesome. And Filipinos are so effing talented. It's absolutely ridiculous. And so I just hope, within the next few years that this just inspires more creators out there in any medium that they're pursuing to go out and do it. Like, I hope that people are like, look at us at the end of the day and is like, they did it. They went for it.
Yeah. I mean,
and I hope other Filipinos are encouraged to go for it, because that's like that's the hardest part, is to take the first step and to be brave enough to do it.
Yeah. There has been an influx of more Asian in the media, so we get a lot of the K-pop, the boy bands,
K-dramas,
K-dramas,
J-pop, anime, manga, manhwa.
It's, so popular these days. But
We have to carve out our own space.
the P has to come out somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't think that was going to be the best quote of this whole podcast. Context.
The P for Filipino needs to come out at some point in time.
P-pop, P-comics, all of it.
Yes.
Pinoy, everything.
That's awesome. Well,
It confused me because, it was P-pop, but I was like, is it F-pop? But
Oh, yeah, right? Exactly.
P-pop.
yeah.
But yes, thank you.
Well, thank you for being on the podcast and sharing your wisdom and your stories.
Thank you
both
for
are
having
both
us.
beautiful. I love your story, and it's very inspiring.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So this is the part of the episode where we do our little game portion. We're gonna start with our this or that. Just you gotta pick one or the
Yes.
other. So
Alright.
I'll let my co-host Kat start
Okay.
it off.
So, single issues or graphic novels?
Graphic novel.
Graphic novels.
Our graphic novel has a beautiful art book with behind the scenes of how we created the art and a glossary section. So, graphic novel.
Love.
Right. Next one. Super strength or super intellect?
Oh, super intellect for me. Absolutely. You got it. Super strength can get you far, but super intellect will get you further.
I second that.
Okay.
Okay.
Ink or color? Oh, I'm sorry. That
It's
was
okay.
your question.
It's fine. It's fine.
I got it and then I jumped in.
Color. I see the world like that, like how vibrant the Mask of Haliya is. I wish my eyesight could make everything even more saturated.
Definitely color.
Okay.
Color.
So, world building or character creating?
Ooh.
Okay, for me, I'll start. I love the world building.
Okay.
I think the characters only shine when the world around them is already, set, and there's something to interact with. So for me, world building.
I'm gonna go the opposite. I'm gonna go character, and I'm gonna say the opposite too. I think it's you could have the most beloved characters and put them in any environment, and that is the story driver and is what's gonna make you want to continue reading or watching. Yeah, and I'm an actress too, so I gotta go with the characters. That's what's making me stay.
Okay, so the last one. Backup hero weapon. So whatever their powers, this is their backup. Pick one. Chanela slipper or Walis broom? What weapon are you going with?
Oh. I feel like I might be a little more quicker with the broom. You really got to have good aim for the for the sandalias.
I'm an Asian mom, Chanelas for sure.
Oh, I'm a little scared right now.
I know, right?
This is where I get my triggering moment. I'm like, no, mom, no.
Chanelas.
Oh my
yes.
gosh, that was awesome.
Yeah, Chanelas. For
That's
sure.
great.
Okay, so we have one more game for you. This is our rapid fire portion. So
Yes.
first thing that comes to mind.
Yes.
So I'll start off this round. Favorite superhero or heroine you liked when growing up?
Wonder Woman.
Katniss Everdeen.
Oh, interesting.
I love Hunger Games.
Okay.
Me too. So, Filipino curse word you would allow a character to use in your series?
We have them using them in our series.
One of the Cebuano slang bad words is piste.
Piste, yeah.
I'm
love-
Ilonggo. I'm not familiar with Cebuano like
Yeah,
that, so I've
but
never
that-
heard
Yeah,
that.
we
So
threw in
now I know.
Cebuano slang in our
Yeah.
book as well. That was another part,
Are they allowed to
language.
say what it means? Can you say what it means?
Piste?
I don't know if we're allowed to. It's
Well, it's our podcast.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
our-
Yeah.
yeah. So it's just a general swear word of, God damn it or whatever.
Is that the G version?
Yeah, it's a cheap version. Another one is that we have in there. Is I know I can say is gago,
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
which is you're stupid or you're an idiot.
Yeah. I like a good ay nako.
Okay.
Yeah.
What actress would you choose to play Marisol in a movie?
Ooh, me.
Love.
It was rapid fire.
Her.
Okay.
That's awesome. So are you still acting now?
Yeah. Yeah, still out there, still in LA. But yeah, maybe we will see a Mask of Haliya film, video game, animated series in the future. But I would love to pull up who is like a creator. I don't know, Adam Sandler. He creates his own things. But
Oh,
I mean,
like Reese
Reese
Witherspoon.
Witherspoon, Jen Ann, they produce their own stuff. Then they're in it. Like that's kind of how that's my ideal trajectory, at least, being in behind and in front of the camera in some form or capacity.
Love. Okay. So name another indie comic book company we should know about.
Well, I think you might have had. Okay. So,
Yeah, shout out our Filipino
yeah,
comic
I'm
book
gonna-
brothers.
Bayani.
Yes.
Yes.
We had him.
We love Bayani. He's actually
And
in the New York-
Patricio from the
Patricio.
Lumpia movie. They have
Exactly.
their their comic book run. We got to support more Pinoy creators on the floor. I am trying to convince, we really need San Diego Comic-Con to do like a Sorry Sorry store and just have like an entire avenue of all the Filipino creators because there's like a lot of
That
us
would be awesome.
at San Diego. Yeah, so that's what I would
be
love.
kinda
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so last one. You recreate the Avengers shawarma scene, but you got to pick a Filipino dish. Which one are you choosing?
Palabok.
Okay.
I need something quick and we're on the streets of New York City, right? That's right. I'm gonna go turon, easy to pop in your mouth. Dessert.
Go. Awesome.
That's my husband's favorite.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's too good.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Well, that's it.
So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. For
Remember, let everybody out there know where they can find you.
Okay, we're at QuentoComics.com on the website and on our socials
Yes.
at Kwento Comics.
Awesome. Check it out.